here's Brody Brazil.
What I'm about to address in this video is something that you could kind of sense coming. Like it was trending and the trajectory just figured to be a domed stadium in Las Vegas as opposed to what was promised in a retractable roof facility. Via the reporting of John Shea in the San Francisco Chronicle, we've heard that there are those renderings out there of maybe a 75% concept design for this ballpark at the Tropicana site. Obviously has not been released to the public yet, but we're understanding that when the design eventually comes out, it's going to feature a traditional domed roof stadium and not a retractable roof that can open and shut. It's going to be a fixed dome in Las Vegas. So this kind of goes against the original plans and what we heard for the A's and kind of what was the spectacle here. But the reality is a fixed dome roof instantly does a lot of things. Number one, it cuts down on hundreds of millions of dollars in flat out cost of construction and design and fabrication. You don't just go to the retractable roof store and buy something and put it on top of your stadium. This all has to be custom built, designed. It's got to be something that obviously fits on the space. Oh yeah, it should also spare some acreage if you just stick to a fixed dome because the roof doesn't have to retract over something else. So cost is one part of it. Logistics are another part of it. There's also kind of cost and logistics all in one. It's going to be less to maintain over the years. A lot of retractable roof stadiums across the country, including the one in Phoenix, Arizona, they come with a lot of problems. Leaks and maintenance and greasing of the wheels, literally, because it's a very complex structure that opens and shuts. I don't know how often that would be utilized in Las Vegas. I'm imagining that typically it was going to stay shut. But now the option of opening and shutting the roof sounds like it's not going to be an option at all. But again, this is more of the simple route. For logistical reasons, for financial reasons, this is the easier way to go. Thing is, this wasn't the pitch, right? In the Nevada legislative session and all the advertising of the ballpark so far, one of the things that made it sexy was that it was going to have a retractable roof. And let's be honest, in Las Vegas, for most of the summer, there's no way, like I said, you're going to want to be outside. But what about March, April, May, or maybe even getting into a nicer day in September or October baseball, a playoff game, hypothetically? Or how about all the other events that might have wanted to use this facility for an outdoor something, a function event or whatever, and now it's just an indoor stadium year-round. There's not even the option to open up the roof. The ability to open up the roof and create views and be part of Las Vegas. I remember looking at center field and those now meaningless renderings, like the MGM Grand is right there. The Las Vegas Strip is right there. It was always a selling point to Las Vegas that this could kind of have the multi-purpose of being indoors and outdoors and probably was supposed to have a real grass surface. I mean, that was obviously depicted in, again, those first round of renderings. But now it's going to be a completely different story. There was also the selling point during the legislative session that this ballpark would be different, not only from an attendance standpoint, like you've already got, 17, 19,000 seat T-Mobile Arena, and you've got 65, 70,000 seat Allegiant Stadium, that this would kind of fit in the middle somewhere. 30, 33,000 maybe, that number obviously changed, but this would sit in the middle of attendance, but it also was supposed to be a different type of venue. T-Mobile, indoors always. Allegiant Stadium, indoors always. This one could open and shut. It could offer you the best of both worlds, but again, this was the pitch, and now maybe what's being delivered is not going to be as advertised. And let me just say this, regarding the idea of, well, you can make it feel outdoorsy with a translucent roof. Two things. Number one, this is Allegiant Stadium, and they do have a translucent roof, and they do have the grass surface, which can be carted in and out of the field, like out of the facility so that the grass can properly grow, even though we saw how it looked by the end of the Raiders regular season. But the problem here is that translucent roof. Think about a pop-up to the infield or a fly ball to the outfield. Look up into that. Any one of you who's ever tried to catch a pop fly or a fly ball, even outside on a blue sky, cloudless blue sky day, it's hard enough already. Try and do it with that all-white roof, a white baseball and a white roof background. That's been a huge problem of the Trop in Tampa, of the old Astrodome in Houston when they used to play there. It was a glass ceiling, and they said, this cannot work for Major League Baseball. So I've heard about the whole translucent roof. It'll feel outdoors. You can't logistically do that in this situation. The other thing, maybe I should have said first, was that the roof's going to have to be so much higher than this for Major League Baseball than it is at Allegiant Stadium. They have the issue in Tampa already where those rings and the dome is just simply too low, right? They built that stadium before they even had the baseball team. There's no problem, for example, in Toronto, even though that's a roof that opens and closes in a beautiful fashion, by the way. Look up how, like Sky Dome or Rogers Center, how the roof kind of moves in sections and then kind of curls underneath. I've seen it in person. It's a beautiful thing. But the point is here is that you need to have such a high roof like Sky Dome does, or like Seattle does, or like Houston or Arlington does. It needs to be high, but there's no way it can be see-through like this to create that open, airy feeling. It just, that is not possible for a Major League Baseball stadium. No way. The other thing about this is just baseball indoors. Take a look at the last 30 years. They've been trying to get away from indoor venues like, the old Kingdome in Seattle or the Astrodome in Texas. Baseball does not really favor dome-only facilities, and it's not just because of the feeling of it. It's really the playing surface of it. If you're in a dome year-round, there's pretty much no alternative other than artificial turf. Baseball players hate artificial turf. It's hard on the knees. The hops aren't the same as real grass. If you have the chance right now to eliminate artificial turf fields from Major League Baseball, they'd probably like to do it. But it seems now with Tampa's current new plans for an indoor ballpark that doesn't have a retractable roof, it's kind of a pyramid design, at least the latest one is for St. Pete. That one's going to be a fixed dome facility. And now they'd be doing the very same thing in Las Vegas. So this was a chance to at least have indoor-outdoor and have it potentially be a grass surface or something like that. Now it seems like straight artificial turf is the only way to do it in Las Vegas. So again, this is something that from the initial promises and speculation, the thought of having a retractable roof stadium, it sounded part of the bonus of this plan. And Las Vegas would be able to take advantage of nicer weather days or using the facility year-round and having that option to open things up. I know as part of this, you might hear that maybe the walls will open up. Okay, I suppose, but I don't know that that's going to help grass grow indoors by any means. Or honestly change the view. I mean, look at Tropicana, whatever's going to be rebuilt by Bally's, it might block the view anyway. So having the roof was going to be some kind of opening. Sounds like that's largely not going to happen, at least, like I said, via the reporting of John Shea and the San Francisco Chronicle. So not a surprise, but definitely something to think about. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.